Hey there, I'm John Siskovich. I have a chicken farm. I raise eggs and meat on pasture for poultry. And for my egg fences, I have these two different types of fences from Premier. Wanted to talk about the differences between the two and what that can mean for your day-to-day operation on your farm or homestead. So this is the regular poultry netting. The fence posts are further apart, and over time you can see that it sags. That happens, you know, there's no getting around it. This is a little over exaggerated because when the fence is fully stretched out, it kind of pulls on itself and tightens up a little bit, but it does begin to sag. And with that being such a common problem, Premier came out with this fencing where the poles are a lot closer together. I think it's only like 10 feet versus 12 or 14 feet, whatever the case may be. This might be even 8 feet. Yeah, 8 feet versus 12 feet. And that 8-foot spacing made a big difference because instead of adding in an extra post, which you see I kind of have a placeholder post here, there. Instead of adding extra posts in, the posts are just closer together, the fence stays up. You can see the difference in the sag between this one and this one, and it solves that problem. The thing that you don't think about when you're like, oh great, the fence stays up more, it doesn't bend over and ground out, is that this is 164 feet, this is 100 feet. So you lose, 64 times 2 would be 128. You lose 128 feet out of your enclosure when you go with this fence versus this fence. So it depends. You can add in, a third fence of these or a second fence of these. If you're putting two fences together the way I do, you can just have smaller runs and move them more often. It's something that you're gonna have to determine as you manage your livestock. So with this one, I like it for another reason, is because when you're gathering the fence up in your hands, there's less material for you to hold on to and it fatigues you less. So when you do have to move fence, these ones are easier to handle. And now I have bigger hands. Kate, my wife who runs the farm with me, has a little bit smaller hands and she struggles with this one especially. This one gets difficult by the end of if you're moving a couple of these things, you really start to tire out your forearms from trying to wrangle and drag this massive fence, but such is life with this kind of fence. But even though it's harder to roll up, you do get an extra 64 feet out of this size fence. So the decision is yours. For me personally, I've gone with this and added the extra posts in. I spend the extra 5 to 10 minutes to set up my fence. It gives me a nice straight, tall, tight, not grounding out fence, and I get that extra 128 feet in my fence every time I move, when I move two fences. So that's it. That's the differences between these two. I like this one. I like what they've done with this one. It's just for me at a certain scale. I could use a little bit bigger of a fence, but that's all comes down to personal preference. Thanks for taking the time to watch the video. Got a link for Premier down below for you guys to click on. That's the company that makes this fence. Yeah, that's it. Talk to you soon. Enjoy your day.